Welcome to the very first episode of Did We Need This? I am your co-host, Andrew Lenz of Let's Talk But No Politics Okay, and this is a collab with Retro Bliss.
That's right. I'm the host my name is Johnny of Retro Bliss, infamously. We welcome you to this joint project. Very excited about this. We're going to go back and look at video games that were based on movies or TV, some sort of property, and decide at the very end, did we need this?
I think that is the greatest question for a lot of these games.
That's the biggest. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, what's the meaning of life? I mean, sure. But I think, Mighty Podfun already answered that. Yeah. So we're here to tell you if we needed this. And we're going to tell you one way or another. We're going to be honest. We're going to be brutal. We're going to be nice. We're going to cover every aspect of the emotional roller. Like that friend who, when he gets drunk, he literally hits every emotional moment there is. That's what when I used to drink, that's what I would do. That's why I kind of quit drinking. I was really tired of the stories I was told afterwards. They were very embarrassing.
So we're not doing Tapper?
No, I don't think I can handle it. Bring back memories. But I'm very excited about this. Andrew, what are we going to do for our #1 episode?
I think we need to do Top Gun, which is, I think, kind of a controversial game where it's very, very hated. In a way, I feel.
And we'll find out if that's with reason or not. But I want to tell this quick little story of how angry I was yesterday that is very much Top Gun related. And you will know this, Andrew, because on Retro Bliss, our podcast, we covered this game recently, and you were our guest on there. And I wanted to, because we discussed this on up into the recording, I wanted to watch the movie because it'd been so long since I'd seen it. And I wanted to watch the movie and just get a feel for if this game made me feel like the movie, all that kind of stuff. For research, and honestly, it was more just an excuse to watch a movie. But I couldn't find it on any streaming services because it wasn't on any of them. Yesterday, I found out that this month, literally days after we recorded that, it's now on Netflix.
Really?
Yep, it's on Netflix. I saw it yesterday. I mean, I didn't watch the movie, but I saw that it's on there. So, man, I didn't get a chance to watch it though. It's pretty wild. Just the fact that the universe continues to laugh at me any chance that it gets. I should be used to it by now, but
it's what it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, throw me a bone, throw me a goose.
So, Top Gun. As the personal history kind of goes, and we mentioned the movie, wanted to watch the movie. Did young Johnny feel like we needed this as a game?
That's a great question. This was not one of the movies that I saw when I was a kid. I didn't see this until I was probably a teenager. And even then it was on TV the first time I saw it. So I'm sure it wasn't the complete version. I did enjoy it. But when I was younger, this was a movie that I was aware of, but I just never saw it. And so I can't answer that, honestly. Well, I guess I can. I did think we needed this as a kid because it wasn't a property that I was even really very familiar with until much later. And I don't know why, because I think because when I was younger, I was just too much into, Ninja Turtles and dinosaurs. Sadly, that's still the case for me today as a 39-year-old man. But for whatever reason, I was like, oh, this is just about guys flying jets. I don't care about that. It's when I was a kid. That's what I was thinking. And that's probably a really dumb take because I don't know if you know this, but jets are freaking cool.
They are cool because I, as a kid, was like, yes, we need this. because I saw Top Gun and there was Goose and Maverick and Iceman, and there's all these cool code names. And like you said, jets are cool, and Maverick was kind of this bad boy. And as he said, it's because he was inverted.
Which is how I like my controls.
And so I was like, yeah, I really need this. And I remember I would sneak off from outside activities with my friends if I was at my one friend's house to like go downstairs in his basement to play Top Gun a little bit. But
which,
that's
which is impressive to me.
yeah.
I think I probably played the game before I saw the movie, if I'm thinking right
Oh,
in my history.
see, I definitely watched the movie before I played the game. And I
Do you
was
remember how old you were when you saw the movie?
oh geez, when did it come out? Like 87?
Somewhere around in there, yeah.
Probably it was like a VHS thing, definitely not a movie
Yeah.
theater type thing. And I think it was I had very not too like I could watch anything. Like if I was in the room, my parents were like, "Hey, we're watching this, so this is what you're gonna watch."
Yeah.
Like I recently watched RoboCop with my kids, and I was like, "What was my father thinking by the he watched this kid as a 5-year-old kid?" Oh my goodness! And somebody should like be thankful that I made it through life. But it's kind of like it was one of those things where I'm 5. It's not registering in my, my 5, 6-year-old head at that point.
Right.
So I did see the movie and it was more planes are cool. These guys are kind of partying, which was kind of cool for like maybe a 5, 6-year-old. You're like, oh, look at them just hanging out. But it was more about the planes and everything like that. So I gotta say, it was probably more 88-ish that I watched it, and most of the stuff that I remember as a young kid had revolved around the planes and the beach volleyball scene.
Oh yeah, yeah, iconic stuff for sure. Yeah. So we're on opposite ends on this as starting out.
Yes.
You think we needed it, and I didn't. So let's find out if that changes.
Yeah. So as an adult and actually playing this through, going through Retro Bliss and playing with my kids, I really feel like they missed so many marks of what made Top Gun the movie so great, and then with the game. So really, the game has nothing to do with the movie, which makes you feel kind of like this is
Except
just
for the logo.
yeah, except for the logo,
and there's
then,
jets.
yes, and there's jets, but you're not Maverick. You don't get to pick certain things. It's like now, as my adult brain works on it, you should have been able to pick what pilot you were, and then who is your co-pilot?
Which you think would be an easy thing to do because you don't actually even see a person in it, right? Because it's a first person view when you're in the jet. So they could have easily just said, you have this name, pick who it is.
I know that's the one thing that I feel like
you wouldn't have to worry about getting an actor's likeness that way. You don't have to worry about that at all. You're just picking a name, and
it could be some weird digitized character or anything like that, or even if you could enter in a code name.
That's literally what I was about to say.
Okay,
like give yourself a nickname. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, I was playing. You do that for every RPG game for pretty much NES. Zelda, you got to put in a name. Even you got to put in, whatever the file name is or your name. But in this, it would have been so much better if you could have just came up with a cool name, like I'm Nighthawk and I'm gonna go pick my co-pilot Beaverhead. I don't know. I just completely put
two with your anus.
Yeah, okay. But those are the things that I feel it was. Now I'm looking back at it because when I was a kid playing this, it was flight. But now I'm like, man, it misses the mark on so many levels.
Yeah, I missed the mark constantly just trying to land it.
Yeah, I know. Well, Trevor actually told us the secret.
Oh, good gosh. Yeah, what a bragger. Go listen to that episode of Retro Bliss. This also made me realize that as a kid, a lot of the games that I got were secondhand or something like that. A lot of them just didn't come with the instruction manual when I got them. And just the fact that that is so crucial to some games, including this one,
Very.
because there's just some things you need to know how to do. This game being one of those, the instruction manual really makes a difference.
Yeah. I'm glad Trevor was like the one. He's got to be the logical
Yeah,
friend
he's
that you have, where it's like, you're like, hey, let's go poke this dead animal. And he's like, no, it may have diseases. And you're like, no, I never even thought of that. I
yeah.
just wanted to go poke the dead animal. And I know that because I was kind of the jump in first friend sometimes too. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's me for sure. I always think in my brain, and I don't know why, because it's never, ever, and I can't stress this, ever worked out for me, that I'm just going to go in not knowing a thing and just button mash my way into figuring it out.
the landing thing was mind blowing to me until he was like, "Hey, it shows you right there on what you're supposed to do," and I'm like, "Oh," like kind of like you. I'm just like, "Oh, it's telling me up. I better go up. I better decrease speed. I better do that." And now I just know when I do play this game, I completely eliminate all those commands, and I just look at the screen and channel my inner Trevor, and I land the plane.
Yes. Yes, we all need to channel our inner Trevor for best results.
Yeah.
If you channel your inner Johnny, you're screaming
Trevor, I'm
at this
guessing
game.
is more of the Spock out of you guys.
Yeah, yeah. As much as Spock was probably my favorite Star Trek character, close second being Bones. I'm probably way more of a Captain Kirk than I like to admit. Just jumping in, both feet, not even thinking I can work my way out of it, improving left and right.
So, I mean, I think what it comes down to is the question of this right now, looking back retrospectively, did we need this as uh, did we need this as a Top Gun game?
Yeah, there's so many things I think this game could have done differently that we've already sort of touched on to really make this feel more Top Gun, right? You could have let us either make our own nickname or let us choose one of the nicknames from the from the very famous movie. You could have done something that easy. I mean, that just seems like such an easy thing to do. And this is from a really good publisher, by the way. This is not like this is an LJN game. No offense, because I actually truly love LJN, and that's probably part of what's wrong with me. uh, so it's just really wild to me that there's just some weird choices in this. It's almost as if they got the license for Top Gun, but we're told in no way do you make this about Top Gun.
Exactly. It's the toys that made us when they're talking about getting Star Wars toys out. Let's just label slap something. Just put it on there. Just we'll put the Top Gun name on there. There's a plane. We'll give them missions, and it's something where you blow up a space shuttle at the end.
Yeah, I want to know who the masochist was who decided that you need to fuel your plane in the air.
I'm trying to remember if they even did that in the movie.
I don't remember it.
I want to say they did, but it could be one of those Mandela effect things.
Yeah. Like, despite how much I hated landing my plane, that just makes sense, right? Like I mean, that makes sense as a part of the game, and that's just something that you would think would be a part of it. But it feels like this running out of fuel kind of comes out of nowhere. And then it's not as simple as just pushing a button to refuel. No, of course, it's got to be ridiculously difficult unless your name is Trevor or Andrew. You found out you pulled your inner Trevor and figured that out.
You know what though? That like I figured out landing without a problem. Like I could probably land every single time. But the best thing for me with landing or with refueling is even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah.
Because I did that just blind. And I was like, okay, I think I'm here. And then all of a sudden, because it doesn't tell you, like, if you're even close. It just tells you where to move. And then all of a sudden, right when you're like, okay, we're connected, if you didn't connect, it's like, you didn't connect. Bye. See you later.
Yeah, and you're just done for.
You're going to die in a fiery plane crash.
Yeah. That brings me to another thing. This game did make me realize that if I had ever become a pilot for the Navy, I would have cost him billions of dollars in equipment. Because I apparently fly my planes like I'm Launchpad McQuack. Can't land. Any landing I can walk away from, the only thing that counts.
That's such a great reference right there. Launchpad. But like I said, looking back on it, it's such, well, it's Nintendo. What is it? 1987, 1988. This came out. But really looking at it, I don't think we needed this. I think the second mission looks a lot better because, like, oh, that was the other thing, was the inverted thing going upside down.
Yeah.
That's the staple in the movie. That's a quote and everything else. And yet you cannot do it until you get to the sequel of this game. So they should have just waited and used the sequel. But I don't know if it was an ET situation. I don't think we're getting into too much of the history. We don't care how hard you worked on this game. We just, as of right now, I don't think we needed this game for Top Gun.
Yeah, I think this game would have been much more needed if they would have just said, this isn't a Top Gun game. You're just a pilot in with a plane on a carrier, and you're just going up against bad guys. Just make it that game. Don't slap on the Top Gun name. And I think this game would have been one that we have been way more forgivable about, right?
Yes.
But as a Top Gun game, I am going to completely agree with you. This is not a game that we needed. It just doesn't do what we want it to do. And it's really wild because there are some games, cough, cough, LJN games, that as you're playing them, you're like, this game doesn't even feel like it's like going into it, they knew it wasn't going to be good. Like, there's barely quality here, but there is quality in this game. There really is.
There is.
So that's what makes this even more frustrating to me. Just these wild decisions they made about this. Like, if you told me that the story of this game was they built this whole game up, and then somebody came along and said, "Hey, let's just slap on that Top Gun license," even though the game was already done, I'd be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's do that." I would completely believe you.
I think that's the only, without knowing the history behind this game, that's the only logical explanation.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense
for this game. It's that Mario 2 Okie Dokie Panic type thing where we need something to the market and what we probably could make, but we could just slap something on this and, hey kids, look, Top Gun. You could be your own Top Gun pilot, but sometimes you don't want to be your own Top Gun pilot. But like we mentioned, let me make a code name.
Yeah.
Let me make my own code name.
Yeah, there's little choices that would have went a long way. For real, yeah. And at least Mario 2, well, the American Mario 2, had this sense to kind of add some of those characters into the lexicon of Mario, right? Like, so there's a lot of reasons to go back and play that game if you love Mario. I do not know unless I'm doing it for shows, if I'm going to go back and play this.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much done with it. I did it for a couple of Let's Plays, and I pass by it every time.
Yeah.
I reach into my game drawer and I'm like, no Top Gun today.
Yeah. So we both agree, Top Gun for the NES. We didn't need this.
No, did not at all. But we forgot one other member. Let's hear what Trevor has to say about it.
Yeah. Roll the footage.
All right, I'm here to respond to Andrew and Johnny's take on Top Gun. Do we need it? The NES game. Well, I already gave my full thoughts in the Retro Bliss podcast, so listen to that. I'll see y'all later. Thanks. Oh, I mean, I guess I can expound a little bit. I didn't enjoy Top Gun very much, but I do think it's important to remember that it was kind of a ambitious game for the time. Like it was a flight simulator in a time before you expected that on the NES. But I will agree, as much as I hate to, I'll agree with, well, both of them really, because I mean, you're flying the plane from Top Gun, but otherwise it's a very sober, serious game. Like I don't know, it's too technical. Like it, when I think of Top Gun, I don't think that's what I think of. Now, granted, I'm not some Top Gun super fan, but I don't know. There's definitely no Tom Cruise in the game. We'll put it that way. There's no 80s music in the game. I mean, technically there is because it's an 80s video game, but you know what I mean. I would have enjoyed the game so much more if it was like a 1943 clone, except you're flying the F-14 Tomcat or whatever it is. I know my planes. I would have enjoyed it so much more, but they went for something more ambitious. You got to respect that. But I don't really enjoy it today. But that's not really the question is. The question is, did we need it? And of course, that's a relative. I'm going to break the show right now. Of course, we didn't need it. It's a video game. But that's not really what you're asking. Okay. In the realm of NES games from the 80s, did we need it? Huh. I'm actually going to disagree. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because I think it opened the doorway for a different kind of game for a lot of people. It's not my kind of game. I really don't enjoy flight simulators. I'm just really bad at them. But I think it probably opened the door for that for some people. But it's a very lot we needed it because I don't think it captured the feel of the movie at all. But I think enough people remember it, even if they only remember crashing trying to land, enough people remember it that I'm actually going to say yes, although it's not for me. However, I'm going to tag on to this, and I guess I'm disagreeing with Andrew a little bit here. I didn't realize there was a Top Gun 2 for NES, and I find that very odd because unless I'm going crazy, there was not a Top Gun 2 movie. I mean, they're working on one now that's supposed to be out anytime, but at the time there wasn't a Top Gun 2 movie, so it was a totally unnecessary sequel that is confusing because it's a movie game, but now it's based on something that doesn't exist. And I tried playing Top Gun 2 for the first time today, just because that's the dedication I have to this venture here. And it's a lot more action packed. Like the jet planes are really coming at you. It looks more impressive visually, but I think it kind of strips away everything that made Top Gun a unique experience. Even though I didn't particularly enjoy it, it was a unique experience. This is all about the dogfighting, which sounds great, but I'm gonna be honest with you, it's freaking impossible. I mean, it's pointlessly hard. If you go to game FAQs, I mean, people consider Top Gun one of the hardest NES games. But if you listen to the episode of Retro Bliss, I actually had some success with it this time around, a lot more than I did as a kid. I was able to clear some missions. I was able to land a plane multiple times. I refueled in the air. I brought Shane to Johnny and Andrew because I was able to do that. And but Top Gun 2, if you look on game FAQs, it's rated as unforgiving. The original Top Gun is like 4 out of 5 difficulty. This is 5 out of 5 difficulty. It's needlessly hard. I mean, I couldn't freaking beat the first mission. It was just over the top. I mean, maybe I could if I really tried at it, but I didn't really care to. I feel like Top Gun 2 is the game we did not need. The original, I'm going to say yes, but it wasn't for me. And also, Johnny, I don't sound anything like that. I don't know what that was. You trying to sound like me. I am much better at impressions than you, so you just need to leave it to me. Here, I'm going to give an impression of you. I'm Johnny. I'm an artist, and my friend Trevor is such a good guy. I think he's amazing and awesome, and he's really good at Top Gun. Thank you. Bye-bye.